there is an issue that is actually bogging this country, which must be stopped. This idea that people want to think that they are squatters. In this country, everybody has got an origin.
This land that they want
yes,
for squatters.
Everybody
everywhere.
has got an origin. A Luo knows his origin very well. He comes from Luo Nyanza, from Ugenya to Migori. That is their land. So he cannot come here that he's a squatter. Then he must have done wrong things in their own backyard. Then wants to call themselves squatters.
A very good evening to you. My name is Millicent Aroka. Welcome to Impact, where we get to talk about what's happening in the country and how it would impact on your life. And today I'm joined by security expert and also political analyst Tom Nduku. Karibu sana to the show.
Asante sana.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming down here so we can get to discuss what's happening in our country. And we'll just get straight to it. First of all, we have Africa's fastest man, Ferdinand Omanyala, who is going to be representing us on the global stage. That should be happening actually this weekend. And one of those things that just disturbed me is the fact that someone, who is highly placed like that for us, one who will even run for Kenya and will have the president sitting there and watching, then it comes to a point where, him getting his visa is a problem and he's going late. At some point we were not even sure that he was going to participate, and then finally he was able to catch a flight and go to the US, but he's going to arrive when it's, just 2 hours to this particular race. Now, whether he makes it or not, we can all attest to the fact that him arriving late in the first place, just 2 hours to a race, can affect him, can affect his performance. Is that really fair? And this is not the first time that this is happening. It keeps happening, maybe sometimes even to our footballers when they're going to another country. Last minute you find that things are not right, something has not been done. What is this kills with our sports in the country?
Well, I tend to think that in this country we have a problem with management. And our worst position is that I do not know, first of all, I would want to know whether the athlete has his own manager, his own officials, because at his level now, he needs to have his own doctor, he needs to have his own coach, he needs now to have his own manager, somebody who take care of his management. And that is the person now who should be taking administrative measures. But overall, we have a problem in this country, and we can't assume much. I think we are a country that probably we do not have that money until the very 11th hour. Sports is something that is an activity that makes money. And I say, especially with the athletes, then they have their money. So it just means that somewhere down the line, the money has been utilized improperly. And for this reason, this is just a calling card that we need to improve and start respecting our institutions, and starting, the ministry should not actually even be called in, because the ministry should be able to allocate these monies before. The ministry should only be coming in when the position become impractical. But you see, that should not be the work of the ministry. I think the athlete body needs to take care. The athlete needs to have his own manager, he needs to have his own coach, he needs to have his own doctor. Those are people who should take care of him. So I don't think I think is the sports person who should now up his game. Because if he was somebody who had upped his game and he had an administrative measures being taken care of with other people, then I think that one would have been sorted out. But overall, Kenya as a country must know that our sportsmen are really giving us a good foreign exchange. You see, of late, even Safari Rally has become one of our major income. And if we are not going to have respect for the revenue they generate, then we are going to have a problem. So we need a president, actually, we need to have a new government. The new government that will come must now separate monies that are involving in institutions and money that the country can spend. Because sometimes you would find that these are monies that are spent somewhere down the line within the government sector without anybody knowing. So I think these are the things that we need to come clear about.
Talking about the president, right now, President Uhuru Kenyatta is really flexing muscle. You remember he actually talked about this, and he promised that those who are on the wrong side, of the law or will be found corrupt or anything like that, he'll actually go home with them, and of course other people would also be given the chance to do their work well. And talking about that, one of the latest people that have actually fallen on the wrong side is the Vice Chancellor of Kenyatta University, who is currently sacked, and of course his deputy is taking over. With that kind of thing, first of all, what did you think about him getting out of office, going by the land route? Let's talk about how the president is really flexing his muscle now. He's not joking.
I don't think the president is actually flexing the muscle as such, but I think the president handlers are wrong people. They tend to address issues that they want the president to hear, but they don't want to live to the fact that there are realities that must keep with us. So I don't want to blame the president in that line. I want to blame negotiators who went for this process, who went with the idea, because you see, the president is the father of the nation. When you tell him that somebody somewhere is suffering and the other person has food and he doesn't want to give, he will react badly. And his reaction may not be very pleasing. So there I blame the president handlers. In fact, the chief of staff really acted wrongly. He needed to have a lot of respect for the institution. He must know that there is a council, there are other institutions, and I believe that the Vice Chancellor feared one sense that, you see, when EACC will come, they will not be knowing that there is anything called cabinet. They would be checking his integrity. So I think that is something that we need to know. There is an issue that is actually bogging this country, which must be stopped. This idea that people want to think that they are squatters. In this country, everybody has got an origin.
This land that they want for squatters.
Everybody has got an origin. A Luo knows his origin very well. He comes from Luo Nyanza, from Ugenya to Migori. That is their land. So he cannot come here that he's a squatter. Then he must have done wrong things in their own backyard. Then wants to call themselves squatters. This idea of squatters is also making this country go into a mess. We are entertaining people actually who should be responsible. And my idea would be that, in fact, the idea of the research unit, that is key. Kenyatta being a teaching institution, they need to have a referral hospital, which they control. They cannot just go under, because this is a research institution. Kenyatta University is a teaching institution. So what they need to achieve is that purpose of teaching. So when they wanted to bring in herbs in the medical unit as a basis of treatment, that's a very noble idea. We have drugs like Arubaine, which treats people locally, but we have never thought on how to bring them in a scientific analysis. If that basis can be brought, that would be a very noble idea. But let it be Kenyatta University controlled program. The government should be earning prestige, knowledge, and assist where necessary, but not that the government are the ones who want to take over. The government should be happy when its arms are doing well, as opposed to when they are the ones doing it.
Tom, there is also something that is going on about appointing people the last minute to boards and also ambassadorial positions. Most of these people are actually having 3-year contracts. So that means that they're going to be working with the new government that is going to come into place. Okay? and you know, there's that worry of why is this happening last minute. At the same time, I think Kenyans are used to the fact that some of these positions have always been given to those who were loyal, maybe during the elections and never quite made it, and then usually it's like a thank you gift for them. This time the positions are going away before the election. So what does it mean? Things are changing. How they're being done.
I tend to think that that kind of history, we must come out of it.
Yes.
You cannot just run for election because you want to be everywhere. And I think that is one area that we've been making mistakes if those seats have been preserved in that angle. But I want you to look at it that all this time around the president is also part of the new government that is coming in, even though he's not going to be the president of the nation, but he's going to be a chairman of a party. It may be that this is something that is being agreed on within Azimio, being that they are there and they want to say, fine, we don't want to have a shaky government. We want to have our experts whom we can actually professionals who can represent us in other countries. Let us deal with it earlier. You see, so that even these people who are now running, they should know.
Scrambling for it.
Yeah, let them give it all in the race, and if they fail, they should know they have another 5 years to work out. You know, we must also be knowing that we have really kept a tradition in this country, which has not gone very well. And that's actually why we are failing in leadership. We have never prepared exit. Everybody wants to be in every place every time.
That's why we had the CAS and all that.
Yeah, but you see, that's actually, you want to see a member of parliament, he was in Senate, you want to be a governor. So from governor, he wants to come back again. You see, those are things that actually must now be, we've never dealt with the Constitution very well, but I think in future, our Constitution must be very discreet, that you cannot be everywhere every time.
So you feel what is happening right now is great?
Well, that is great, and actually I think that is one thing, so long as there are people of merit.
Yes.
And there is no favoritism.
Yes.
You see, one thing that we should be thinking about is that when it comes to the level of appointment, let us now not be thinking about loyalist.
Let's think
about the professionalism, people who have made it hard to achieve the purpose.
Okay. Tom, we also had the gubernatorial debate for Nairobi, okay? And of course we had several key players there, but I'd love to talk about the performance of Sakaja against Rigathi for you.
Well, I want to make the process in a different angle.
Yes.
You know, the contestants never looked at the problem of Nairobi. Then they are seeing Nairobi in terms of employment, they are seeing Nairobi, but you see, our problem is garbage. Nairobi is no longer Nairobi anymore. We can't attract more revenue, especially foreign exchange. Garbage is everywhere. We do not have industries. You see, so the idea of a new governor, now that even there is money that county government is given, was to how can they employ? One, how do they deal with the garbage issue? Secondly, water. You understand? We only have one tank that is at the Kenya Army headquarters. Are they going to build more in every corner, sub-county? Those would have been the purpose of the new governor, because the dam in Kiambu cannot serve both of us. You see, we are now even fighting with Moranga's Nairobi town, yet we are people who can actually build our boat. So the governors who performed, Sakaja was too smart because he had too many languages. But Sakaja did not raise a point as somebody who is born in Nairobi. You understand? Though he was much better than Rigathi. I must say that.
I was waiting for that.
Yeah, but you see, the truth of the matter is just applying another Ukora languages, but it's not mature on what Nairobi needs. You see, this Nairobi now does not have a strong young team that is coming in to be propelled in football. During our time, we used to have Kothbiro, we used to have Luanda Magere Cup, and people used to play. That's why there were no robbers. During our time, a robber could be distinguished in a group because we were busy. In April, some of us would drive Mukebe Safari Rally. We used to make motor vehicles of metals, and we drive on the road. We could play shakes. You see, there was that purpose of you being a young person. Now we don't have it. Everybody wants to be a matatu tout. So you see, and then we don't impress even the companies in terms of social welfare. That's why you see companies now don't play football. So the idea of Nairobi is to come up with a new beginning. Let us see how our industrial area can now start working.
Talking about new beginnings, we've had the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, like you said, and you said that they have actually done a good job. And when we listen to most of the aspirants who want to be governor in Nairobi, most of them are actually talking about once they take office, they would ensure that NMS is no longer there. Let's talk about the legality of NMS in the first place. Okay, just a minute. Is it legally there? Because for me, I knew that it was formed. It was supposed to serve a purpose, and then it would not be there anymore. But now it's there. So, what really needs to happen once we have a new government in place?
Aroka, NMS, or any arm of government that is well structured will be taken anywhere in this country. If those who want to be leaders are not going to mature, we can't have robbers in the name of leadership. You understand? We can't have people who do not even know what they are supposed to do. We can't have people who want to think that every contract is about their relatives. Any bursary is about their relatives. No, that one would never happen. So if leaders want NMS to go,
they must
behave, they must mature up, they must provide leadership. If they are thinking they are just going to fight it, that one is there to stay.
Wow.
That is a structured civil service which may stay and may walk into other counties if you don't know.
Okay. Before I let you go, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission has for the longest time always been accused of failing to act on hate speech, sometimes called toothless, sometimes even called biased. But the incitement cases also have never really been prosecuted. What is really their issue? They go to court, like right now, all these names they didn't want people to say as hate speech. It was thrown out of court because they said the procedure was not right. What's really it with NCIC?
No. There's nothing wrong with it. The only thing is that they don't know how they are structured.
Procedurally.
Mm-hmm. You see, they are a body that should keep the eye where the police can relax or the police can fear. So they collect evidence, then they share with the DCI. DCI makes the file and take it to DPP. DPP will look at the legality, whether it meets the threshold of a criminal intent. From there, DPP would advise, this one will go to court, or this one you can put a penalty as a committee. That is something that should be approached legally. DPP and AG has a role in this one because AG is the legal advisor to the government. They need to check with AG. This one, if we were to find in what level ingredients should we operate. But you see, the one thing with the committees in this country is that when you are formed, you think that you are on your own. No. There are certain offices that must operate with the other.
Beautiful. That's Tom Nduku for you. Yes, he is a political analyst and also security expert, and we had him here on Impact. Please do share this program, subscribe to our channel, and of course leave your comments down there so we can get to know what you think about this program.